Yo, what up? It's B-Cide. You know, I've been thinking a lot about what MonSter actually means to me because this album didn't just happen. It really started after I wrote my book about living with MS. Writing that book pulled me out of a really dark place mentally. It helped me get out of a depression I had been stuck in for a real long time. And it forced me to look at my life differently. After finishing the book, I started thinking about music good again, on a different plane. But, I didn't really know how I was really going to approach it. I knew if I was going to make another album, it had to be honest, it had to really mean something. And this is after everything with Lyinda that I had done and all that other stuff. This isn't discounting the other stuff that I've done that came out fucking awesome and I had a great time making. But this is just on a whole different level that I don't even really know how to explain. But, I'm not discounting anything that I've done. And, that I just don't want to sound like it it makes it sound like Lyinda was just like a drop in the bucket. It definitely wasn't. It was fucking great, but writing that book really put me back on track. And then what happened is Ken, he sent me a beat, and that beat ended up becoming the song MonSter. As soon as I heard it, I knew exactly where I wanted to go with it. There's a hook there's a hook in the song that actually came from a friend of mine who also lives with MS. Her name is Kai. She had written those lines years ago, probably close to 10 years back, and I always remembered them. I woke up one day trying to see my life a new way. The monsters in my head and the lesions fast they spread. Would you like a hug, MS? We'll give you one. Let me know how you feel after it's said and done. And that's what she came up with, and it was dope because it references different things about what happens to you with MS. So that was really cool about it. And when Ken sent that beat, it just totally felt like that moment to me to finally use the hook. And that's really where everything started. After that, Ken told me he had a bunch of beats sitting on BeatStars that he wasn't really using. He was trying to sell them, but everything was just stagnant, and we were trying to work on a project and everything, and this just kind of kickstarted the whole thing. But I started digging through the beats almost immediately, like they were my own personal crate of records. But, the process for this album was completely different for me. Normally I hear a beat first and then I write to it. Now, with MonSter, the lyrics came first. I would sit down and write a song about pain or resilience or depression or fighting through something invisible. Then I would go through Ken's beats and find the one that matched the emotion of the lyrics. It was almost like matching the music to the story instead of the other way around. And in a strange way, it actually brought me back to my roots because when I made my first album back in 2003, Upstate Madness, Welcome to Utica, I was writing before I had the beats as well. So this project kind of brought me to like a whole full circle moment because every lyric on MonSter was shaped by living with MS. You know, pain, resilience, invisible battles, depression, anxiety, fighting through things that other people can't see, you know, But the thing about those topics is they're universal. You don't have to have MS to relate to the album. You know, everybody's fighting something. Everybody has days where they feel like they're carrying more than, you know, people around them understand. And unfortunately, that's what it is, you know, and that's what this album is really about. And MonSter ended up being the most honest project that I've ever made because the entire thing came from one place emotionally, pain. And the decision was, you know, and the decision to keep moving anyway. That was it. Pain in the decision to keep moving anyway. Sorry, I can't fucking read my shit. I'm trying to fucking keep shit good and stay on fucking beat and all that shit, but sometimes shit gets fucked up, and that's how it is. So yeah, that's the story of how MonSter really came about and everything in a nutshell. So yeah, you know, like, subscribe, comment. It's dope. I love y'all. Stay strong, stay wicked. It's B-Cide. Peace out.